Panther Sports Profile. Our guest again this week is Washington coach John Venturi. Coach, welcome to the show. What's it like preparing for the state playoffs?
Well, it's really a great experience, and although we are 2 times the bat in the state playoffs have been less than spectacular, it is a great reward. If there's anything that you can compare it to on the higher levels, I guess it would be similar to preparing for a bowl game in college or the playoffs in professional football. It's a great thing. There's a lot of recognition for your players and for your community, and I think the entire town gets caught up in the playoffs. And it's a lot of fun. It's a different type of preparation than you have in the regular season, but it's the type of reward that you enjoy before the season is over, and that's kind of unique in athletics.
Was it hard preparing for this game, only having a couple days?
Well, I don't know if it's hard. It's difficult because you find out who you're going to play on late Saturday night. So instead of having a 6 or 7 day week to prepare, you're forced to prepare in only 3 or 4 days. But that's relative to everybody. Everybody's in the same boat, so it's neither a great advantage or disadvantage. I think that we did some things differently in our preparation this week or this year than we did last year, and although that we didn't win the game, I don't have many second thoughts or any real regrets. It was just a matter of Champaign playing a better football game than we did, and they won the game, and we made too many mistakes to beat a good football team. I still think that we are a great football team and certainly had a great season, and our program is getting better and better each year. It was just a disappointing finish to what was otherwise a great season. But we're just as proud of our players and our team and our program as we were a week ago. It's tough to lose 2 games in 5 days, but the caliber of competition that we're playing is the finest that Washington High School has ever played in football. And we have nothing to be ashamed of, and we think we rank right up there with the top football programs in the state.
Was Champaign as good or better than they were last year?
I think they were better defensively than they were a year ago, without a doubt. They returned 5 starters, having shut out 6 of their first 10 opponents. I think that says it all right there. I, however, don't think they were nearly as good as they were offensively a year ago. But some of the things that we did, you can't make mistakes against the Tommy Stewart coach football team. We had a fumble right around the goal line. We dropped what probably would have been a touchdown pass, and had a couple of fumbles and 3 interceptions, things that we haven't been doing much of this season. In a playoff game, the team that makes the most mistakes is going to lose, and that's what happened.
Now let's take a look at the first half,
which we tried a cross-field diagonal, and we've got pretty good kickoff coverage. Champaign takes over possession, 1st and 10 at their own 36. And they run the ball right up the middle. This is a very, very crucial drive in the football game. It's a 64-yard drive, 15 plays. They really didn't have any real big plays in the drive, but they had a great opening drive and moved the football successfully and mixed in the running game with a critical screen pass for a nice game to go up 7-0. And the playoff game is much like the opening game of the season. There's quite a bit more self-doubt involved because you know that you're playing a championship caliber team, and similar in respect that the team that scores first generally wins the game. It's certainly a big momentum boost to draw first blood in a game like this. Here they jump into the shotgun, and they execute the screen very well, and they fool our defensive end, who does recover, though, comes back and makes the tackle, but not until they get a big first down. They run the ball to Patrizzi, an outstanding fullback. This time they run the buck sweep, get a nice gain, super tackle by Hodges and Steve Krull. Ralph Bristol's also there. I thought we played a very, very good defensive game. although we allowed 21 points, only one was gained on the defensive team, and that was this one right here that we're looking at. And we held them to 129 yards total offense, which usually is enough to win. But when you get shut out, there's no chance at all, of course. We jump into our goal line defense. And we make them work for it, but they score the first touchdown, Patrizzi, on about a 4-yard run from Power I. They kick the extra point, and it's 7-0. What's significant here is that it was an 8-minute drive. They're a ball control-oriented offensive team that plays great defense, great kicking game, and unlike many of our other games where we had 4 to 5 possessions in the first half, this game we had only 2 possessions the entire first half, which makes it very difficult to score. I liken it to the Morton game, which we had 5 possessions and scored all 5 times. And although we moved the ball here on a 2nd and long, we hit Steve Ryan on the trap option pass. Nice catch and a big gain, a first down. In this game, we only had 2 possessions and 2 fumbles. Ended these drives. We try a counter trap inside. Nice gain by Steve Kuhl. We get another first down. And we appear to be just rolling along offensively like we have all year. But for the second consecutive game, our own mistakes, the fumbles, really cost us. Here we miss a blocking assignment, causes a fumble, and Champaign recovers in excellent field position. Again, we've had but 5 snaps offensively, and the first quarter is just about over. Again, we're playing the type of game that Champaign wants you to play, that forces you to play, I should say, because of their excellent defense and their ball control attack. They try a buck sweep. 3rd down situation. They're down right around the 25-yard line. First down play. Calvin Fuller comes up, makes a nice play, stops him for a 1-yard loss, and we force them into a passing situation, something they don't like to be in or like to do, and Ralph Bristol has a big sack of their quarterback. And now they're faced with the 3rd and long situation. They jump back into their shotgun set, try to run the screen again, but this time we've got it covered, well covered, and they do complete the pass but to Patrizzi, but they lose about 10 more. So it's now a 4th down situation at the 44. Now this player here, their punter, is an outstanding punter. In talking with the young man before the game, he said he spent a lot of time with Chris Sigourney, the Illinois punter, and he's been an outstanding punter for 2 straight years for Champaign, all-conference as a junior last year, and he had a couple of kicks that were instrumental in their win last year. But he's worked with the Illinois punter, and I think he's helped the Illinois punter out a little bit too. This is our best offensive drive of the night. On 3rd and short, Kenny Hop breaks an isolation play for about 7 yards. We try our scissors pass. It's open, but it's deflected at the line of scrimmage by the Champaign pass rush. And we're into a 3rd and long situation, and John Gaspari completes a nice pass to Buddy Osmond, who gets the first down. We try the counter trap again for good yardage, about 6 yards on first down. We try the isolation play for 3 yards, setting up a 3rd and about a yard and a half. And we get a first down with Steve Krull carrying for about a 4-yard gain. Now, as I said, this was a very good drive for us. On the sprint out pass, John Gaspar just does a super job here of avoiding the rush, keeping his balance, getting out of there, and throwing the ball downfield to an open Steve Ryan, but the pass was a little bit off target. So we come right back here in a second and long situation, and we run our triangle pass to Steve Ryan. We hit this particular play 3 times in the game with Champaign, and the triangle pass was our play of the week for the Champaign game. Try a sprint draw play to Kenny Hop, who gets good yardage. You can see we've got a very good drive going, mixing the pass and run very effectively. A nice gain on the inside veer play to Steve Krull. We try the option keep. John gets about 3 yards. On 4th and a yard, we run the toss sweep. Nice block by Matt Hodges and Steve Krull, and Kenny gets the first down. And we've got a 1st and 10 just outside the 15-yard line. We try the counter trap again, and Champaign does a good job of stopping at this particular time. They're a great defensive team. In the 10 ball games they've played this year, they've shut out 6 opponents, so we're up against one of the best defensive teams in the state. And they played a particularly good defensive game against us. 3rd down situation. We go to our tight end, Steve Ryan, who reads the coverage real well, goes to the open area. John throws it to him on target, but he's pushed. Pass interference, automatic 1st down, 1st and goal at the 7. Now this is, again, probably the most important series of plays in the game. On 1st down, we get the ball down inside the 5 to Kenny Hop from the power I. We run the toss sweep again. We get good yardage at the point of attack. Steve Nossinger and Steve Ryan blocking, gets the ball down inside the 2. Now we've got a 3rd and goal from about the 1.5 yards, and we run the inside veer play, outside veer play, which we've run very successfully all season long. A pretty good blocking at the point of attack, and we just mishandle the exchange point, fumble the ball, really without getting much of a hit, and Champaign recovers the football right at the goal line, so it's an important defensive possession. We felt like that we made 2 critical mistakes now, but it's only 7-0, and we'd like to keep them down here pinned in their own territory and hopefully get good field position after we force them to punt. Now they've got 3rd and about 1.5 yards, and now with Matt Hodges injured, we're playing Todd England a lot of defense, and he had a particularly good game for us, even though he's played primarily offensively. On the quarterback sneak, Todd and Mark Dennis stopped the quarterback short of the 1st down, forced them into a punt situation. We feel like we're going to get the ball in relatively good field position, and we had called timeout to set up our 2-minute offense, and then their punter, again, Chad Little, gets one off 74 yards. One of the best plays that you're going to see a high school punter make, particularly punting from his own end zone, a 74-yard punt, and it really changes your outlook, your philosophy now as far as 2-minute goes. Then we have an alignment penalty, and now instead of having a legitimate shot at getting some points on the board, we nearly get one picked off, and we decide we're 85 yards away now, we're better off just running the clock out and be down only 7 points because another mistake, a fumble, an interception, and you give them another touchdown, and there's no chance. So the first half ends, Champaign Central 7, Washington nothing.
In the first half?
Yeah, I think that we played a good first half. Defensively, we got better after the first drive and played pretty darn good defense all night. Offensively, we only had 2 possessions, and that's the thing that Champaign does best, and that's keep your defense on the field and try to play ball control. We did move the ball very, very well. We got down there, had a real good drive, and came away short, came away empty. And I think that had a tremendous psychological effect on our football team. I know it did. It did myself. And even though we were only down 7-0 at halftime, and still looking to receive the football, I think the fact that we didn't score and then the 74-yard punt really had a adverse effect on our players, at least psychologically.
Could you tell us about the big play of the game?
Sure. The play of the week occurred in both halves, and it was the same play, and it was by far our best play consistently all night. We did hit it 3 out of 4 times, and we'll go to the blackboard right now and describe this week's play of the week. What we call our triangle pass. Out of our drop-back scheme, which is in our 70 series, we basically block big man on big man, and without getting real technical, the guards block the number 1 men on their side of the line of scrimmage, and the tackles block the number 2 men, and we get this sort of blocking pattern. Then the center is responsible for one linebacker if he blitzes, and the fullback is responsible for the other linebacker if they both would blitz. Now in this play, as I said, it's a 7-step drop by our quarterback, and the triangle part comes in here. The tailback runs what we call a flat pattern to occupy the outside linebacker and hopefully this hook outside linebacker. Now, the read is involved here. The safety in the corners generally will cushion deep because we're running deep patterns here, 14 to 15-yard ends. Depending upon what this linebacker does and what this linebacker does dictates to the quarterback who he should throw to. Normally, this linebacker will get into this hook point here, and we will hit the tight end, and it's been a great play for us all year long. And we did hit it twice to the tight end and once to the back coming out of the backfield. The one throw, John hit Steve Ryan for a big gain, and the other time he hit Tim Heller for a big gain. And the triangle pass, one of our most successful, I think we had about an 80% efficiency on it all season long, was this week's play of the week for the Champaign game.
Now let's take a look at the second half.
Kickoff. Trailing only 7-0, we felt like that although we had squandered a couple of excellent scoring opportunities, that we were still very much in the football game. We talked at halftime about the fact that we were behind 27-7 last year at halftime and kicking off, and we still made a game of it and did everything but win it. So we felt like we were capable. However, we knew also that we were up against a better defensive team this year than they had last year. We missed a trap option pass, setting up a 3rd and long situation. We run the triangle pass again, our play of the week, and we hit Tim Heller, who fills in for the injured Steve Ryan on this particular play, for 16 yards and a first down. John throws a strike, great throw, and a super catch by Tim Heller, who's done an outstanding job for us, both offensively and defensively, and we think he's going to be one of our big players next season. We run the counter trap, good trap block by England, good downfield blocks by Hodges and, or not Hodges, by Dennis and Dester. And we've got a 2nd and 1 situation. We try our sprint draw play, and Kennedy does very well, get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and less than a yard, and we run a quarterback sneak that John almost breaks for a touchdown. A 9-yard gain and a first down. We try our buck bootleg pass, and John throws the ball to complete to Steve Krul, who makes an excellent catch. Another 9-yard gain. As you can see, we're moving the ball quite well. We run a draw play on 2nd and 1, pick up 3 yards and a first down. We come back, and this is a very critical play in the football game. We get into what we call our jump set, which is no backs. We've hit this play successfully most of the season, just in and out of the hands of our tight end, Steve Ryan, who's just had an outstanding season for us. At that time, we just didn't quite connect. Big play here. We're trying to run our outside veer play, getting the ball outside we've got a play going, but the defensive tackle, Mulcahy, bats the ball away from our quarterback, and it forces a 3rd and long situation. Very fortunate to get the ball back. Defensive end number 32 then sacks John for a 3-yard loss, and we're faced with a 4th and 15. We try to sprint out pass, and they do a real nice job of covering it. And the secondary deflects the pass out of bounds. Again, they are a full platoon football team. They're able to do that because they have 73 players on their roster, and it's a tribute to their program and the tradition in their program that they have that kind of interest. But we like to think that we've got a lot of interest here in this town too, and with the declining enrollment that we've been facing the last 3 or 4 years, where our school enrollment has dropped to almost 400 students in what we had 4 or 5 years ago. We have the most players out for football in our program that we've ever had, and I think that speaks highly of our program and the interest in our town, because we have a lot more people involved in our program. Of over 125 kids tried out for football this season, and that's outstanding, particularly with the declining enrollment game that everybody is faced with. We start to mount a drive here again. We get another 1st down, and again, statistics are for losers. We did outgain Champaign Central for the 2nd year in a row, but they certainly beat us in the only category that really counts quite convincingly. They force John out of the pocket, and he unloads the ball wisely out of bounds to avert a bigger loss. They got a lot of pressure on him, and he stays cool in the pocket, and covers and hits Steve for a 3-yard gain. Now this is the big play of the night. It's 3rd and 8 situation. This really turns the game around. I'm not saying that we would have won the game, because I really had my doubts as to whether we would have scored when we had to. But this is certainly a big play. As you can see, John Gaspari goes back to throw, throws the ball. It's deflected off of number 20's shoulder pad, bounces onto the ground, and it's picked up by number 90, Mulcahy, the defensive tackle. Now this is ruled incorrectly, and the officials really didn't have a good look at it. They claimed at the game that it was not a incomplete pass, that the pass was caught before it hit the ground, and one official said it wasn't a forward pass because the arm didn't go forward. Well, the arm went forward, it bounced off of 20, hit the ground, and 90 recovered it. So, therefore, should have been ruled an incomplete pass, and it's 4th and 8 instead of 14-0. Again, I don't mean to be sounding like sour grapes again after the Rock Island game, because when we do lose, we accept the responsibility of a loss. I don't think this would have affected the outcome of the game. Again, I find it very difficult for us to have scored, regardless if Champaign had 17, 14, or 21, and the officiating in this game was good. We have no legitimate complaints as far as to affecting the outcome of the game, as we did in the Rock Island game. We were beaten by a better team on this particular night. But certainly, I guess the call to all of us in high school football is that we need another official at the game. 4 is not enough to adequately cover the game. With the expanding sophistication in the passing games that we see the high school teams have, 4 is just not enough. And I think the film speaks for that itself, that we've seen it numerous times throughout the season, because these guys do the best they can, and I really believe that they're calling the game as best they can see it. It's just that there's too much to cover. When you look at the fact that in a college or pro game they have 7 in a college game and 8 in a pro game, and we're forced to cover the same kinds of things, certainly not as fast a game or as physical a game, but with just 4, it's a very difficult task for the officials. And as coaches, we certainly want things to go our way, and we get carried away sometimes on the sideline. But I think we have a good case for at least expanding to 5-man officiating crews in high school football. It's certainly needed, win or lose. because we've gotten the benefit of penalties and calls by officials this year too. It hasn't just been a one-way street, and again, we don't want it to sound like sour grapes, because there's nothing to be sour about when you have a championship season and you win games at an 80% clip every season. Here's another a bad high school rule. Many of the people who were at the game felt this was misinterpreted. It was not. Fair catch interference. The penalty for this is a re-kick 15 yards from the spot or take possession at the spot of the foul. We, of course, chose possession at the spot of the foul because this was going to be our best field position exchange of the evening at the 36-yard line. We didn't want Little another opportunity to punt the ball with the 74-yard kick and the 44-yard average. That was his poorest kick of the night. Now this first play here is not really the quarterback's fault. This is, I'll take the responsibility for this. We told John to get off his normal key, which is both middle linebackers, and throw specifically to the wide receiver, and they just happened to guess right and double-teamed on our wide receiver, stepped in for an interception. Because without John Gasbury, and I think he's as fine a quarterback as there is anywhere, and we're very happy to have him back for another season. I had the opportunity to coach some great quarterbacks in the schools where I've coached, and John is by far the best all-around quarterback I've ever coached. And he got us a championship, and we look for another great season from him next year. We mentioned the all-conference players on the Tuesday night show. A lot of seniors that didn't make the all-conference recognition that some of the others did deserve a lot of credit too, because you're only as good as your senior leadership and your senior players. And we had a great group of seniors that may not have been all-conference or even starters, but did an excellent job for us. And I'm talking about people like Buddy Osmond. I'm talking about people like Cliff Hurd that contributed all season long and for 4 years. Mark Wayner is another. Mark Hotzler. Players that really gave us outstanding careers, and particularly just outstanding senior seasons, and didn't get the recognition of the second team and first team all-conference players we talked about the other night. And they've done it for 4 years, and we're real proud of them. And again, you know, Champaign is a team that has won more high school football games than any other team in the state. They have the winningest coach, active coach in the state right now, in Tommy Stewart. They're used to playing 10, 11, or 12 games per year. The number of Big 12 titles is you know, about 10 for him in his 35-year career, and they've been a playoff rep the last 4 years, and it's a super football program, and there's no disgrace in losing to a team of this caliber. They're all good at this stage of the season. A little bit of a breakdown there, and again, the interception set up the touchdown, and defensively, there's just really one legitimate score on our defense, and offensive mistakes, and of course the no call were responsible for the other 2 touchdowns. Nice return here by Mike Morgan, who had a fine senior season and an excellent career for us. Just about broke one. We go into the shotgun. We really haven't had to use that this year. We've been ahead in every game until this one, so we haven't had to use it. And I think we're probably a pretty good shotgun team. But again, I don't think you use this type of thing unless you really need it. We run a little misdirection play here, a little razzle-dazzle. We call it the cowboy shovel trap, where we pitch the ball forward. It is a forward pass to Steve Ryan, who picks up about 9 yards. we have to pick up the first down here. And as well as they're playing, they're still not giving an inch, and then this ball game is all but over. We do pick up the first down on the quarterback sneak, but again, we had to really waste 2 plays to pick up the first down because of the intensity of the Champaign defense. Here's a nice play by junior and wide receiver Teddy Moore. He's getting what we call a bump technique by the corner who's walked up. Teddy shields him very well, gets into his pass route, which is we call our Panther, our no-huddle play. Not only gets away and catches the ball, but then he gets 5 more yards and gets out of bounds, stopping the clock. Very heads-up play, and again, we've got a good nucleus coming back next year. We think we'll be a good football team again. There's Mark Stahl, their senior All-State player, and intercepts. And I had the opportunity to receive some good news yesterday. Mark Dennis was named to the most prestigious All-State team, the Champaign News-Gazette 33-man squad. Mark was named the All-State football player for us, and as I said, there's many more to come, but that's the first and the most prestigious, and we're real happy about that.
In the second half?
Yeah, I think that it's a shame. That's the finality of the playoffs. Unless you win the state championship, you always end the season on a bit of a sour note. However, this season was anything but a sour note. Our kids won 8 football games again for the second year in a row. We're conference champions and state playoff representatives for the second year in a row, and there's about 500 or 500 plus schools in the state that would trade places with our players, and I told them that after the game. They were disappointed. Quite frankly, we didn't play well enough to win, and there were some things that happened, a couple of calls, but we can't blame this game on the calls of officiating. Champaign played a better football game, and the result was certainly not a fluke. I thought that our kids played hard the entire night, and they're as disappointed as our fans and myself. But as I told them after the game, they have a lot to be proud of, and we had some outstanding performances all year long, and we just did select our all-conference team, which is voted on by the coaches in our league, and we had 10 first-team players, 3 second-team players, and a special mention player, and I'd like to mention those people. Offensively, Jeff Briggs made it as a first-team guard. Our 2 tackles, Matt Hodges and Mark Dennis, also made the first team. Steve Ryan made it as an end. John Gasperry, our quarterback, made it as the league's punter with close to a 40-yard per average, 40-yard average per kick. Defensively, we had Ralph Bristol and Jeff Martin make the first team. We had Kenny Hopp make the first team. We had Carl Muller make the first team. We had 3 second-team players make it. Mike Morgan made it in the secondary. Todd England made it, and Troy Reed made it as offensive lineman. And Gary Duster was a special mention player as a receiver. So we're real proud of these players. And lest I forget, we had one more player that had just an outstanding season for us. Steve Krull made it unanimous choice as a running back. Rushed for over 1,000 yards. Last year, we had a 1,000-yard rushing season from Ron Lance, which was the first in the school's history. And this year, Steve broke that record in addition to being a 2-way starter, which is a great accomplishment. Lest I also forget Mark Dennis. He had an outstanding season for us, and we have nominated those 2 players for all-state recognition, and we're looking forward to having maybe one or both of those players make the all-state team, and certainly we think we have some other players at least worthy of honorable or special mention recognition on those media teams. But all in all, it was a great season, and we think that we've established a solid foundation for continued success in what's already a very good football program. And we're just proud of the contributions, particularly of our outstanding senior class, that they've given not only just this year, but the past 4 years to Washington High School.
What do you foresee for next year?
Well, we're looking forward to next year. I think we have the nucleus back to be a real strong football team again, and we'd have to be at least considered contenders with 3 first-team all-conference players coming back in Gasperry, Hop, and Hodges. And, you know, we returned 5 or 6 players on each side of the ball that had quite a bit of experience, started at one time or another. So going into the season, we like to think that we have a legitimate shot at being championship contenders again, and success tends to breed success, and if we can get some help from this year's sophomore group, and perhaps even a freshman or two that will be sophomores next year, we like to think that we can be right in the thick of it again.
Congratulations on a great season, Coach. That's all for Washington Sports Profile.